Media news coverages have been receiving numerous criticisms, both positive and negative. It was during 2016 national elections that media news coverage has labeled fair or otherwise. Certain media institutions in the country are considered biased when reporting about certain candidates. In the same way, these news have been considered as sensationalized. However, these opinions of the mass imply that their perception regarding this news may only be a matter of personal taste and not based on objectivity.
I guess bias tags in news reports are merely based on personal views and personal opinions because I believe that no one is actually be able to express their opinions in a non-biased way because first of all, when you write a story, you want someone to believe in that story. And when you say that I am pro something or an anti something, it means that you are writing in behalf of a certain degree in a way na, hey, I don't I don't want this one or I like this one. So news reports in my opinion are based on mere personal thoughts or personal views. And if we're talking about objectivity, I think it's really hard to be objective.
I think two things, primarily two things. One is source. Depending on who is saying it, if it's a known person, if it's a credible person, if the person is a trustworthy individual. So let's say, for example, between Karen Davila and let's say Empoy, for example. Not degrading Empoy, but if we're talking about foreign affairs or if we're talking about current social and political events, if it's Karen Davila discussing it as compared to Empoy or a comedian, of course, people would usually go to a more reliable person. So the source is one factor. Second, the content itself is being considered if we would like to identify effects of the news or the article itself. Maybe I could add a third factor would be personal perspective. Let's say, for example, even if it's a very reliable person that's the one telling the news or projecting in social media, whether it's a trustworthy news anchor and the facts are true, if my perspective is contrary to what they're saying, then I would always have a bias against what they are presenting, especially if my perspective is against. So, source of information, the information itself, and my own point of view.
The factors affecting people is more on the orientation nowadays of media, the news being released by the media, is because the approach now is on there's a concept of scoop, okay, kung saan sila makakuha ng mas madaming kumbaga meron silang makukuhang scoop sa mga balita. So kung may scoop sila makukuha, kakagatin to ng taong bayan. Kaya kadalasan ang kinukuha nila is more on the negative aspect of the news. Like for example, if there's a good side of Duterte, they are going to dig deeper into the negative aspect of the president because the public are more interested on intrigues about the president. So I think there is a subjectivity on the matter.
Objectivity definitely means you would like to look at things without personal bias, or even if it has your own perspective. It is taken in the proper context. There are things that you cannot discuss without bias, but and I think that's fine as long as it is done in the proper context. Being objective also means that in the process you try to make sure that the uh, the the idea that you would like to understand and the sources of additional information that you use to further understand come from um, uh, trustworthy portals of information. Um, that's being objective, trying to look at particular idea or particular phenomena without much personal bias, or if it has, then it has to be in the proper perspective. Subjective, of course, contrary to objective, that would always have your own personal take on it. It will always have your bias towards your own perspective. The difficulty now, especially in today's age of information and technology, it's difficult to put a line between being objective and subjective. Different perspectives would want to argue that there's no such thing as being objective. Even when you conduct research, even when you do a study, no matter how much you try to be objective about it, you cannot be completely objective about it. For example, you're trying to conduct a study, you're trying to make a documentary. The moment that you choose a particular method, a particular perspective of how to look at a particular phenomena, even if after that you try to get different sides of the story, you try to be objective about it, but the mere fact that you chose one way to present it is already a form of subjectivity. So it's difficult to differentiate being objective and subjective.
The administration is arguing that it is a conspiracy by the Liberal Party, but actually it's more of a publicity coming from the administration, because if you're looking at on the perspective of the president, lahat ng sinasabi niya would be more of a publicity. Actually, there's no proper implementation to it. Like, for example, the ties between the US and the Philippines, that he will cut it, and it's more of just a statement, but there's no actual implementation. So for me, it's more of a publicity, so that the public would be persuaded not on the real issue, which is the real issue of our societies, on poverty, housing, and etc. But more of the public will look into the issue on the government, which is for me not important, rather than those programs needed by the public in general.
Generally, media coverages affect the way people think on certain matters, especially people or events. News coverages undergo a process where stories are being considered in different angles. This does not guarantee that media would be fair and balanced at all times, nor would it be favorable to what the people is expecting. Furthermore, it is only through our objective interpretation of this news coverage that would help us look into the real purpose of these news coverages.